Hi, I'm Katie from Charterhouse Cookies, and today I wanted to do a tutorial to teach you how you can make your own 3D printed cookie cutters by using clipart. I do want to preface this video by saying that you still need to be responsible when you're using clipart. Make sure you're checking the commercial use terms for the art because it is somebody's intellectual property. Even though I have a 3D printer, I still do purchase cookie cutters from a lot of vendors because it is their original art and their intellectual property. So I just ask that you are responsible when using clipart and make sure you're sourcing it from a place that allows commercial use. With that said, let's get started. So here I've got Fusion 360 already open. If you have clipart in mind that you are ready to use, you can skip this next part. But if you would like a resource for great clipart at a reasonable price, it's a yearly subscription, or you can buy it by the piece. I will show you that. This is where I get a lot of my clipart. I would just make sure you double check the usage terms. So this says commercial usage allowed. So this should be fine. But I thought these little ghosts were so cute. So I've already downloaded this to my computer. So you're just going to want to keep in mind where you downloaded it to. And again, I have that link down below if you are interested in that. So back in Fusion 360, you're first going to go over to document settings. I like to just make sure that this is in inches. I start off in inches, and then you're going to go over to insert. You're going to go down to canvas. This pop-up is going to show up, and you're going to click on insert from my computer. So this is where you're going to find the clip art that you want to use. It's Ghost 3. If you need to take a quick look, you can just right click and then click on quick look, and it'll show you a little preview. That's the one I want. So I'm going to hit open. It's going to import that image into Fusion. And you just drag it over to this bottom layer here. Once it's in, you're going to hit OK. Now it's kind of slanted, so I want a better view. So I'm going to come over to this box up here, and this changes the orientation. So I'm going to click on top just so I can look straight down at it. And then I like to scroll on my mouse to zoom in. So if you need to move your image at all, you're going to click on this hand, and then you can kind of move it around to where it's a better position for you. So this looks good. If you need to get back to the arrow or the selection tool, you just click up here. So this looks great, but I need to calibrate it so that it prints the appropriate size for my cookie cutter. So I'm going to come over to units, make sure that's on inches. Then I'm going to go down to canvases, click on that little caret right there, come to this where this should be the name of the image. I'm going to right click on that, and then I'm going to click on calibrate. You're going to do 2 reference points to calibrate. So I'm going to click at the very top and at the bottom. Typically, cookie cutters are measured from the widest part. So this would be the widest on this one. So I'm going to do 3.5 inches for this. It's going to zoom in, so you can just use your mouse to kind of roll and zoom out. And then again, if you need to reposition it, you can use the hand and then go back to the arrow. So that looks good. Now we are going to go to create sketch. And this little box is going to come up. You want to click on this right here. And then again, you can kind of move this around so it's centered. And then don't click finish sketch because we're just now creating the sketch. So I like to use what's called fit point spline. So you're going to click on that. And then it's good to kind of zoom in so you can see what you're working on. I pick a spot, click, that's going to be the anchor point, and then you kind of just click all the way around it. So you're going to want to go as close as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect because again, this is just a cookie cutter. So when you get to the bottom of the screen, you can kind of just scooch it up with the pan mode. And then it usually does like a weird line right there. I just do Command Z, and that gets it going back to sketching. When you come to a point here, you can click this green check mark, and then you're going to want to click on the white circle to restart your sketch. It's important that this is one continuous line. So again, we're at a point. I'm going to click the green check and then click on the white circle. So continue around. And then moving it whenever you need to. So if you move it like that and it doesn't have the sketch option anymore, just do Command Z and then click on that white circle and continue. If you're on a PC, it could be Control Z. So just continue all the way around. Up. Use the pan, Control Z, following the shape of your clip art. If you need to zoom in even further, you can by rolling your mouse and going around. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to go in too crazy here. It all just depends how much detail you want or if you just want the basic silhouette of the cookie cutter. So going around, and I'll speed this part up. So now we're getting to the end of our shape. And when you're done, you're going to want to close it by clicking on the white circle at the very beginning of your sketch. When you can scroll out to make sure you kind of got everything. And when you're sure, you can click on that green check mark and then come over to finish sketch. So you're going to roll out. You can pan out this way. One way to kind of check that your design is complete and that it's one straight sketch is to make sure you're on the arrow and hit in the center, and it should turn blue for you. So this looks good. So from here, we need to change the units from inches to millimeters. That's just how I work for cookie cutters. So you're going to go over here to units, click on this little pencil edit button. Unit type, we're going to switch it to millimeters. Click OK. And then once that's switched over, you are going to hit on, we want to create an offset for the cutter. This is going to be the handle. So you're going to hit O on your keyboard. This menu is going to come up. So you're going to select the curve that you want to offset. So we're just going to select this blue line. It should kind of light up for you like that. You're going to click on that. And I like to make my handle 6 millimeters. So that's going to create an outline for you right there. So that will be your handle. Now remember, we're printing from the handle up toward the blade. So we're going to do that again. We're going to hit O on our keyboard. We're going to select this line. And then I like to make the blade part 0.8 millimeters thick. So now we have our offsets done. You can kind of scroll in. The next thing we need to do is extrude, which is going to give the height to the handle and the blade. So I'm going to hit E on my keyboard, and then I'm going to select in between these two lines here. I like to make my handle about 6 millimeters thick. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, when you do that, the other line tends to disappear. So the way to get that back is to go over here to Sketches. And for whatever reason, this little vision turns off. So you're just going to hit that eyeball and it should come back up. So now you can see the lines right here. So you're going to hit E on your keyboard again, click in between those lines and it should highlight. And then I like to do 20 millimeters for my blade, just because I roll my cookie dough a little bit thick to 3/8 of an inch. So I do a little bit longer of a blade, but you can always play with these settings and find what works for you, what's your favorite. Again, this is just a really quick and easy cookie cutter. It's very basic. So we've got that. That's created the body of the cookie cutter. So to kind of test if it worked, you're going to click on this cube up here. While you're holding it down, you're going to move it around, rotate it, and you can see that it worked. So that is what it's going to look like. So it will print from your 3D printer bed here, and it will go up. So that part's done. So if you ever need to adjust these, you can move these arrows and you can kind of flip it around. So I'm going to just recenter it. So now to get your STL, you're going to go over to this caret here where it says bodies. You're going to go down to body 1 and you're going to right click on that. Let's hit select. And you're going to go to save as mesh. This little window will pop up. I never mess with anything here. Leave it as is, and I hit OK. So you can name this, I'm just going to call it Groovy Ghost 3.5 inches. File type should be STL, and then down here you're just going to save it where you want to save it. Replace it because I already did it. So that is the STL for your cookie cutter. So from here, you're going to take your STL and you're going to import it into your slicer program. I use Cura. There are several different slicer programs, and what the slicer does is basically tells your 3D printer how to print it. So that's going to be your temperature, your filament temperature, your bed temperature, all of those things if you're not familiar with what a slicer does. So this gives the design. You take this into your slicer and then you can print from that file, which will give you a G code. So this will give you your STL for your cookie cutter. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.